Hello, folks. How are you doing? I hope you're doing great. My name is Leonardo Figueiredo. Be welcome. Today, we will continue this module and keep advancing through the course. So, come with us that we teach you. And let's start sharing the screen. Right here, we can see the symbol of double isolation, two squares. Never accept this kind of symbology as the symbol for this kind of protection, of course. Only the use of reinforced isolation is allowed in the case of components without any isolation, if the conditions do not allow the use of double isolation. Out of reach installations. In this item, we will be dealing with the minimum distance to be obeyed in the passage, operation, and or maintenance, where partial protection is ensured by means of obstacles. Passage which extension is greater than 20 meters must be accessible at both ends. It is recommended that smaller surface passages but with a length of more than 6 meters are also accessible at both ends. The normal reach zone. The separation which delimits the normal reach zone is valid for the hypothesis of live parts being touched by the hands without considering elements such as tools or ladders. However, in areas where long and bulky conductive objects are usually handled, the separation required above must be increased by taking into account the dimensions of such objects. Remember that we talked in the previous slides that the tools must be considered as an extension of the human body. Because of this, we need to keep a safe distance, and we need, in some situations, to put the facility out of reach. One clear or one classic example of this kind of application is how high the distribution nets are from the floor or are from the ground, exactly to avoid people touching the high voltage facility. It is aimed to omitting protection against electric shocks in places accessible only to persons warned or qualified, and if the conditions of warnings, training, prior briefing, and accessibility by both ends are simultaneously satisfied. Access doors to sites should allow people to easily leave, opening in the direction of escape, open outwards, and opening doors on the inside side of the locations should be possible without the use of keys, even if the doors are closed, the key from the outside. Electric separation. It is one of the control measures against electric shock provided by the NBR 5410 from 2004. It is called electrical separation. Unlike the automatic disconnection of supply, it is not for general use. By its nature, it is a punctual implementing measure. It did not impede it to arouse a certain confusion among professionals of facilities. Conflicts are claimed between the provisions of the measure and the facility practices. The electric shock protection against indirect contacts that it provides rests in a separation between the separate circuit and other circuits, including the primary circuit that feeds it, equivalent in practice to double isolation. In the basic isolation between the separate circuit and the ground. In the absence of contact between the mass or the masses of the separate circuit on one side and the earth, other masses from other circuits and or conductive elements in the other side. The limitation of the supply charge by the separated circuit to a single equipment. The separate circuit is a single electrical system. The collision protection that it provides is based on these conditions. The separation transformer used for supplying surgery rooms are also intended to create an isolated system, but it does not mean that by being the separation transformer that it is employed means necessarily protected by the electrical separation. Separate circuits must be fed through a separation source. For example, a separation transformer which primary function is to avoid the circulation of current to the ground in the secondary circuit, thus providing protection against electric shocks. A current source which ensure a safety level equivalent to the separate transformers specified above, for example, a motor generator which provides an equivalent separation. Example, if you stand on a ground point and accidentally touch the point X, the X point will be grounded through your body, but you will not receive any shock. Similarly, if you touch the Y point, the Y dot will become grounded, but you will not receive any shock. But of course, if you touch both terminals X and Y at the same time, you will receive a fatal shock, or you may receive a fatal shock. These conditions therefore require the existence of a source of separation and compliance with the relevant care in carrying out the separate circuit, which must be in accordance with the requirement of the NBR 5410. Right here we have one example of a transformer feeding an isolator transformer class 2 equipment. Right here we have the example of an isolated system supplying a charge or a load with isolation fault. Alright guys, this is the end of the video and the end of the module. See you on the next video to start a new one. Stay with us and keep watching.